All right, everybody, welcome to the next episode of the Krypton Report. I am your host, Tyler, and with me today is a fellow member of the Southgate Media Justice League. You may have heard his voice before on this show or several of the other Legends of DC podcasts. I'd like to welcome Mr. Phil.
Hey, everyone, what's up?
Yeah, so Phil's sitting in this week. Jania's out flying, doing her vacation thing with the family, and I figured you guys were like, man, I want to just hear Tyler by himself again, so I was like, hey, Phil, we should do this together.
Yeah.
And we're gonna talk about season 2, episode 4, Survivors. Now, Phil, real quick though, since we have you on the show here, what have you thought? Just quick thoughts on Tyler Hoechlin's Superman and just season 2 so far.
Oh, I love Tyler's Superman. I think he did a great job. Like I told you, I think he's very Christopher Reeve-esque, and I really enjoyed that. And they've changed the series a little bit from the first season. Of course, I mean, they're on a new network, but I think the changes they made are good. I heard a good analogy. Where did I hear this? Maybe on the Fandom Zone podcast. One of them, I heard that they said it seems like the show's grown up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like matured a little bit, and I think it's for the better.
Yeah, it's definitely evolved. It's able to take that next step. But yeah, I definitely get what you're saying. I'm glad to hear that, man. I'm enjoying it too. It's actually, it might be my. I don't know. It's so hard. I think right now all the CW shows are actually hitting on all cylinders. I think.
Yeah.
From a standpoint, I think Flash had the rockiest start this season, but they're all just nailing it. Now, one thing I want to bring up before we start dissecting this episode and talking about it is, you as being a comic book fan, what was your thoughts like when he said his name was Mon-El? Did that bother you?
Well, yeah, I heard, what was it, on an episode or two ago, you were saying, yeah, how does he have the name El?
Because his name was I'm trying to pronounce, like, Legrand, something like that.
Largand, yeah.
Yeah, and, he's like, my name's Mon-El. And I was like, yeah, Mon-El was a moniker name that was given to him by Superboy, and then retconned to be Superman and everything later. So that kind of bothered me. I would have preferred if it just would have been Largrand, and then later on, as him and Kara bond, she gives him kind of, we're family kind of thing now. But for him to just be like, I'm Mon-El, like, to me, it was like, okay, you didn't, as much research as you put into developing these characters and these stories, that was a little bit of oversight.
I just think, I wonder if it has anything to do, I mean, we did get the news that Cyborg Superman is coming, and if they go like the New 52 route and it has something to do with her father, could he have given him the name Mon-El maybe? Maybe.
I mean, it's possible. Well, like, we know that they like to do amalgamized characters, and I've said from the beginning, what if there's a twist where Mon-El pulls a Hel-El and decides he wants to travel back in time and save Daxam and Krypton, and we kind of go down that storyline in a way. But I mean, we did see at the beginning, this episode started where we saw Daxam being attacked and destroyed, and Daxamites kind of look like people who are on Star Trek. What it reminded me of. And I did like how it cuts, and we see, Mon-El working out and everything. They're testing his powers. And, oh, man, I wrote down what the thing is, but I can't remember. Or he's like, what is that? And they're like, soccer with dragons. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And he's like, and Wynn's like, we have PlayStations? He's like, good, let's go. Let's do that. I mean, I'm really liking Mon-El's character because he's very cooperative. He's not really fighting back. He's not causing problems. He's very upbeat, which almost makes me worried, but...
what, did the other shoes about to drop?
Yeah, like, I mean, we see... We're just kind of talking about him, but like in this episode, we see him and Wynn kind of bro it and go out drinking. And Wynn can hold his liquor, man. Like, watching how much he was drinking before he passed out. Not bad. But I mean, what if alcohol had we know that there's a difference. They haven't like really got to it too much in Daxamites and Kryptonians. But what if alcohol like really did affect him? You know, we don't know how it would have affected him. Like alcohol doesn't have an effect on Kryptonians, but what if it would have like really hit a Daxamite hard?
Well, I think I think that's part of the situation where he's like he wasn't thinking mono. He just wanted to go out and have fun, and he wasn't thinking of the consequences of anything.
Yeah, especially when you're arm wrestling the dude and you break the guy's arm.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was like and Wen's like, oh, we're out of here. We gotta go. So it was something. Crypto, hush.
That's
this episode. We get the the death at the beginning of an alien, and we have Alex and Sawyer talking like almost as if they're like one-minded crime-fighting partners, and Kara's just kind of like, okay, all right. What do you think about Sawyer's character so far?
I like the character. Do you think that a relationship is forming there?
I don't know, and like.
Because didn't they say, I don't know if it's this show or the CW shows in general, that someone was going to be coming out? And
it was supposed to. I think it was this show. And my thing is, it has to be organic. It can't feel forced, or it's one of those things where I don't know. Like I've known people who had different experiences in this kind of thing, but it's like once again, like we were talking about before, you can't have two girls who are friends who have a strong connection and bond without it turning into something more. So I don't know where they're going to go. I'm not sure. Is it a positive for Alex's character if they take her that way? I mean,
I could just see it. I could just see it because what was it? An episode or two back where she threw that line out the window, like, "Oh, I haven't had a date in 2 years" or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I was rooting for Alex and Win. You know, like, but it's we'll kind of see. I mean. What are your thoughts on Snapper so far?
I don't know. I mean, I know they want like that J. Jonah Jameson type, and it's just like he's only Snapper in name alone. Like he bears no resemblance to like the comic book Snapper, or even like what was it? The Justice League cartoon Snapper was like a reporter, but still no even like besides that, no resemblance to that character even.
Exactly, he's just a character by name only.
He just seems like a plot. He just seems like a plot device. He doesn't seem like a full character yet.
Yet, and that's because all his scenes are basically him telling Kara she needs the facts, she needs the source, really beating into her what she needs. And can you tell me, Phil, who was absent from this episode?
James.
Yeah. I feel like season 2 so far is rocky with him. They don't know what to do with him now.
Well, did you see the previews? I don't know.
Yeah, we'll get there next week. Yeah. And we'll have a whole discussion about that.
Is that when he
come back?
Okay. Well, I was gonna say, is that when he gets his whole? I don't know if I want to spoil it, but that whole.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's next week's episode. So I'm just kind of like that character. They're trying to find that balance with the new characters, with the old characters. The only older character that left was Kat. You just got new characters. No one else has really been replaced.
Yeah, well, Lucy's gone. Maxwell Lord's gone.
Yeah, and there are secondary characters, but yeah, Lucy's gone, which sucks because we could have got more with her and the DEO, or I don't know, maybe it'd be cool if she's higher up now in the DEO, like represent the DEO in Washington or something.
But what do you think of like them moving Kara away from like any kind of relationship with like Wynn and or James?
It is kind of odd. Like Janine and I were talking about the first episode with the whole relationship with James and Kara was weird because it's like they built it up all last season that they wanted to date. And then all of a sudden they got there and they just kept having things happen with their first date. What's going wrong? And I don't know about you, but if I really like someone, there's issues, especially like this. You have to go save the world. We'll reschedule. We'll make it work. And then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, we're just not going to date. I think it could have lasted an episode or two of the idea that we're better off just as friends than we are dating. but you never gave it a chance to develop.
Do you think they just kind of want to move away from like that romantic stuff right now, or are they like paving the way for her to have a relationship with someone else, maybe like Mon-El or something?
You know, I don't know. We've talked before. I think I want to see the superhero that has the relationship that's good, that works out. Because we know Superman references that him and Lois have worked it out, and they have a working relationship. Mm-hmm. She knows he's Superman. So I want to see that. Just like we said, why can't Barry and Iris be together and everything be okay? And just that, why does it always have to be in turmoil? So I don't know where they're going with that. But moving on with more, there's a lot in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm just trying to think other things just trying to stay with characters. I like when Mon-El was like, that's awe and some. And Wynn's like, it's awesome. Just put them together. Put it together. And then he walks in. That's what Wynn said you call a beautiful woman on this planet.
It's like, don't take advice from Wynn.
Yeah, don't learn about women from Wynn. Okay?
No.
But John Jones, man, this episode I love because I really like David Harewood's portrayal of John Jones. Oh, yeah. With this episode, he just really opens up. Mm-hmm. And like you see a different side of him, not the harder side, because he reveals he met Magan, who's a Martian as well, and he's really, when he talks about taking the bond and all of that, about how Martians communicate, and I thought that was funny. He's like, it's psychic, or it's how Martians communicate, not like that. And you see him very vulnerable because he has been alone and he has been by himself. Mm-hmm. Now, what I think is interesting is his Martian Manhunter outfit, like when he takes his true form. I wonder if that's some sort of like Martian armor or some sort of like special suit, since Magan also took that same costume form when she changed to a Green Martian.
Yeah, that hit me too. I was like, is that like a everyone on the planet wore that?
Was it like a military uniform or something that was special?
Well, it's like old episodes of Star Trek and stuff where, like, alien races, like the whole, everyone on the planet wore like the same outfit.
Yeah, and I think when that was someone come to Earth, they're like, you guys are so divided.
Exactly.
Now, we learned that Rolette is doing a basically underground fight club using aliens. Mm-hmm. And it made me think of just that in the DCU comics, when Superman was depowered, how he joined a fight club for a while, was like a gladiator champion. And
even that, but they had that alien Draga or Drago, or I forget how they pronounced it. Okay. But he's from the 90s. He actually had some interactions with the Matrix Supergirl. And he was like a champion in Mongol's War World, where they fought like gladiators too. So there's kind of like a little shout out to that too.
Oh my gosh! Okay, when Mon-El says he saw Draga fight on War World, mm-hmm. I got super excited because what did I say would be awesome for this season? For before they announced the crossover as being an invasion, Mongol would be amazing to see come, because you can't do Darkseid. But we need someone who's up to that caliber for Supergirl, Mongol. And I think they've pretty much opened it for Mongol to come in.
He could still be in the crossover, because the original Invasion miniseries, it was a alliance of several alien races. So I mean, Mongol could be in there somewhere.
And I mean, that makes me excited, because I want to see just a big drop down, drag out fight. Now, this is one of those things that always is kind of hard to work on, is how did Drago actually hurt Kara when they're fighting? Because the thing to remember is Kryptonians didn't have special powers, so just on Krypton, they're just regular people. Mm-hmm. And so if Drago went to fight her, she still would be strong and like steel. So it's one of those things, the physics of her fighting him, how that would be different. So it's just kind of one of those, all right, not sure how, she really got hurt, but at the same time,
I think it's one of those hand wave things where they're just like, oh, he's an alien, and he has strength or powers too.
And I want to know more about like the aliens, because like in season 1, we're introduced the idea of the aliens all came from Fort Ross.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're like, there's all these aliens hiding out in a dive bar. Are they all from Fort Ross, or is like people just coming to Earth? Why National City? Is the DEO going to become like the Men in Black, where they start licensing the aliens and having special things for them?
Yeah, I just wonder if it's going to have to do with the crossover, because that it does deal with aliens. If they'll explain that, or I don't even know if it's going to be on this Earth, because I think from what I heard, I think Barry and Cisco come to get Supergirl. So I don't know if the invasion is on their Earth, or maybe it's two Earths.
Yeah, I'm under the impression that it's on their Earth, and Barry goes to get Supergirl to help because he knows her. Yeah,
I think that's what they were talking about.
Which is cool. Which is a good way to do it until we get our crisis at the end of the seasons. But that's what I'm holding out for.
Do you think we're gonna get a crisis, or are they gonna keep this separate?
I think they're gonna test the waters with the crossover, because I think because they said they're not gonna cross them over like the universes yet, but I think they're building such a rich like history and storyline that it's gonna be hard, because people are gonna want to see Supergirl interacting with the other characters.
Mm-hmm.
For them just like having reasons for Barry to run over to the other Earth and grab her, compared to just merging the universes together somehow.
Well, plus towards the end of the seasons, we're getting that Flash and Supergirl musical crossover. So
sweet. What's funny is I've told my wife, told Jania, like a musical episode I said last year would have been awesome, just because Grant came from Glee and Melissa came from Glee, but also Jesse L. Martin's a really good singer. I saw him. Gia loves musicals and musical theater and stuff, so I saw him in Rent. And then Jeremy Jordan, who plays Win, is on Broadway. So, there's a lot of good musical talent they have on the shows that it would be, if they couldn't find a way to really exploit that, it would be wrong almost.
And when you do the musical episode, you're going to have to make Jania sing the whole episode.
Yes.
Of Krypton Report. Everything. Anytime she replies to you, she's going to have to do it in song.
Oh, I'm telling her that. And that's going to be awesome.
You're gonna be like, oh, the fans demanded it. She's like, really? Be like, well, Phil, but
yeah, Phil, the number one fan. Do it, Jania.
That's right. I'll stop listening.
We did get a quick spot of Lena Luthor. When Kara goes to her, and she's like, anytime Miss Danvers is here, allow her to come see me. And she tells Kara, here, I'm a Luthor, I know Roulette. Here's where the new Fight Club's going to be. And she says, I know that you'll have my back when the time comes. And I'm like, are they going to try to make Lena bad? Or is Lena going to be a good Luthor? Like, I'm kind of like, where are they going to go with her?
That's why I was like, I wonder, does she have some kind of agenda? Because, she met Kara like 2 seconds ago and all. I know she probably respects her, but it just seems weird that she's like, oh yeah, when Kara Danvers shows up, let her in, anytime.
Yeah, so I'm curious where they're going to go with her. I like that they're kind of building her up in the background. They're not throwing her at us too hard right now. Like, just shoving it down. I do hate that there was no explanation of Maxwell Lord's exit from being such an integral part of the first season to just nothing.
Yeah, I just wonder if they're just not like, yeah, we had this Lex Luthor wannabe in the first season. I don't know if they just want to like not call attention to that.
They could have just some dialogue like Maxwell Lord was indicted for crimes that he had committed, and Luthor Corp came in and bought out his company here, and now they're setting up shop. Just some dialogue just to keep the continuity alive.
Yeah. Unless they're in talks to try to bring him back for like a couple episodes or something, and they don't know how, which way they're going yet.
That's true. It is possible. I'm big on continuity.
Oh yeah, me too.
It's one of those things I really look out for. Now, we got a scene. We see Miss Martian fighting John Jones.
Yes.
And I gotta throw something out here. I met a guy my dad works with, and his name was John Jones, and I chuckled. And that was months ago. And my dad the other day was talking about they're doing his company. They're going to do a clothing drive and everything for homeless veterans. Because there's a thrift store here that just supports veterans, that hires veterans to help get them off the streets. And he was like, "Do you remember John Jones?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do, Dad. I remember John Jones." I thought that was hilarious. But we have Magan, and I think it's interesting. John says this: "You will not showing my true form as my judge. You will not make me show it." And then she punches him, and he turns into a Martian. I was like, "Well, talked a little too early on that one, John." But I mean, what did knowing Miss Martian's history, okay, and from the comics, did you think they would go that route, or they would just leave her as a Green Martian? Were you surprised with the reveal, or not?
I wasn't surprised. I mean, I could have seen them leaving her as a Green Martian, but I wasn't surprised at the ending because I think that's the whole reason she was standoffish with John, is because she had this big secret.
Oh, yeah. And she's trying to earn his trust. And like the whole story she told was about her. And this is a spoiler cast, but Magan is actually a white Martian. And what's interesting is how many white Martians still exist? Because we met the evil white Martian in season 1.
And
now her. So it's just interesting that. Why do you think she turned into a Green Martian when she met John?
So he wouldn't freak out as, that she was a white Martian? Because, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe she wants some interaction with him?
I was wondering if he could sense that she was Martian, period. Like he had a sense about her. Like maybe. There was something he could tell. And to hide that she was white Martian, she just turned into a Green Martian?
Yeah, unless she saw in his mind that he was a Green Martian. Because, I mean, even though she's like one of the white Martians that's actually good. I just think of it's like, yeah, if like, say John's a Jewish person and, you meet a girl who's like Hitler's biological sister. You're like, yeah, no, I'm not a Nazi, but yeah, people are going to look at you funny because you're Hitler's sister.
True. But all in all, this was a good episode. I really enjoyed this episode.
Oh yeah.
I have a feeling we'll Snapper figure out that Kara is Supergirl when Kara drops that Supergirl is her anonymous source for her report.
I don't know, because I kept thinking Kat was going to catch on, and she never did.
Well, I mean, they did that switch where they had Kara and Supergirl in the same scene. Thanks to John Jones. So. But Snapper seems like he's a little bit sharper when it comes to like reporting, and he doesn't really like Kara. So, that might be.
Yeah, but I don't know if they're going to go that way again, because then they're just going to be like, "Oh, let's bring in John again." This full of
it's a retread. So.
Yeah.
But any other thoughts for this episode, Phil?
I don't think I'm really enjoying this season. I mean, last season was good, especially the back half. But I do think the way that just the little changes. I mean, I miss Callista Flockhart, but I mean, the show is good. It's doing even better than it was, and it was good to begin with.
And I agree. I feel like the actions revved up a little bit more at times. Like the whole Sawyer and Alex fight with Alien was really well done. I mean, Alex has balls. She's not afraid to fight aliens who are more powerful than her. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of cool to see. I'm like I said, I'm digging this season. I'm liking it. Oh, I did send out a tweet yesterday. I spotted it. The scene where Kara is talking to her mom and Mon-El walks in. If you look, her cell phone is in her boot. I don't know if it was like that's where Kara keeps it, like a Supergirl, or if it was just like an on-set thing. But I thought it was funny because you can clearly see the square outline and everything of her cell phone in her boot. I was like, I found your phone.
It makes sense. I mean,
you got to put it somewhere.
That's just so funny. If that was just like Melissa on the phone 2 seconds before the scene, she just like slipped it in her boot.
She's like, whoop, they'll never see. Wait, what would you rate this episode? How many shields would you give this episode out of 5?
This was pretty good. I'd have to say maybe like 4.
Yeah, me too. I'm there. I totally agree. It was a 4. Lot of development, and I feel like there's always good pacing in this show and development of the characters. So in other Superman news, a new issue of Superman dropped. Phil, did you read Superman number 10?
Of course I did. It was Superman and his son and Batman and his son.
Boom. The issue we've been waiting for, the Super Sons first meet. And all I can say is Damian is a douche.
Ah!
Like, yeah, man, he grabs John and he is just like yelling at him and just like, tied him down. And I just love that it's Robin's doing and Batman shows up and is like, what are you doing? And then all of a sudden he's like, uh-oh. And Superman just busting like, where's my son?
Yeah, but you have to understand Damian had a rough upbringing. He didn't even meet his father until he was like 10. Before that, he was raised by Talia al Ghul in the League of Assassins.
He's died, come back. Oh, I know. What's funny is to me, Damian is the more extreme Batman. As far as the darker side. And I feel like John is the extreme Superman of being the more lighthearted, fun-loving side. So when Damian and John are together, they're even more farther apart than Batman and Superman.
But they're getting their own team-up book, so yeah, I think,
I'm actually excited to read that book.
Oh yeah, I've heard so many people are waiting for that book.
Because I like, where was it I heard? Someone was talking about, it's funny that Superman is this great heroic character who's compassionate and everything, but he never had a sidekick, protege, child to mentor. But Batman is like those loner, dark and brooding, and he's raising kids left and right. And he has his own son. So it's great to see Superman finally have his own child.
Yes.
To work with, to love, and I'm completely digging it. I am so excited to see where they're going. I'm loving everything I've read so far with Rebirth Superman. Action Comics and Superman. I haven't been disappointed with an issue yet. And it's kind of hard to put your finger on to a point. But I mean, I read all the New 52 Superman and it was pretty good, but it was I love the character, but I was never really excited for the book. But since Rebirth, I am excited every time a new book comes out.
Well, I think they brought back the family dynamic. Lois and Clark are married again. I know I missed that, and now they even have John. Yeah,
I mean, I did too. I mean, Lois and Clark, New 52 were just both friends, and I mean, they've been able to.
And Clark, well, that was my whole problem. I said is Clark was a loner in New 52. He didn't even have his parents. His parents were dead and everything, and it's just no, this is the character. He's not Batman. He's not the loner. He has friends. He should have Lois, but yeah, he should, not be this closed off alien. He's the nice guy.
Exactly. I would have preferred if they were going to do something they wanted to change up the status quo for New 52. Why not have Martha be the one that died and Jonathan lived for this time? So make it more of a father and son instead of my dad died and all that they have in every other Superman story. If they want to do something a little bit different. But
that would be interesting. I think, but like I said, I think they wanted to isolate him and make him this isolated alien, which that's not Superman's character.
No, it's not. He's the team player, and everything. But I've really enjoyed it. I mean, even the Justice League is interesting. The dynamic of Superman being part of the Justice League, to the fact that they haven't really got into it as much as I'd like to see. But just the idea that this league has been fighting together for a while, and they have Superman, but he's not the Superman they knew. So there's a sense of familiarity and a sense of awkwardness at the same time. So I'm just digging it. I recommend anybody, if you get a chance. So far, everything I've read from Rebirth has been great, and I know that you can listen to Phil and Lilith talk about, if you're interested just in all the comic news and staying up on the comics. You can check out World's Finest podcast, where they review the comic books.
Now on the Channel 52 podcast.
All part of our DC family here on Southgate. But that's one reason we don't review the comics all the time here, is because you guys do such a great job of doing that over there. But sometimes you just got to talk about them because they're great. I mean, that's the source material. That's where everything that we talk about comes from. You know, without the comics, we wouldn't have the movies. We wouldn't have the TV shows or anything. So it's really nice to have those to read.
But yeah, everyone's waiting for that Super Sons book. I know me and Lilith are excited for it. But like even Charlie, who's like a big Marvel guy, he said he can't wait to read that book. He wants to read it.
Do you know who's writing it?
I don't remember.
See, I don't either.
It's not
it in my notes.
It's probably, if it's not Dan Jurgens, is it
Tomasi?
What's Tomasi? I don't know.
Because I mean, they've been.
I think it.
They've been doing
I think
such
it
a great
releases
job.
I think February it releases.
It seems so far away. It'll be here before. All right. Well, I can't think if there's any other Superman news. You know, we've talked about here before that last thing we heard was there's going to be a Man of Steel 2, you know, titled at the moment. And see, okay, one thing is I read originally, I thought that Tyler Hoechlin had signed on to do 3 episodes of Supergirl. But now people are saying that it was only 2. But I'm wondering if he signed on to do 3 and he's going to appear later on in the series for something.
Yeah, maybe Wonder Phil appear like at the end of the season or something.
Yeah, because, I mean, it was just great seeing him. I mean, it's nothing against Supergirl because I love it, but it's just so nice to see a really fleshed out, fully formed Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Who enjoys being Superman. I'll tell you what, man, if I had Superman's powers, I wouldn't be moping. I'd be like, yeah! I'm like, I don't care if everyone thinks I'm an outsider. See ya!
Uh-huh.
I can fly!
I just wonder when Barry and Cisco come for help if Alex or someone's going to be like, well, let's point him to Clark, and Kara's going to be like, no, I got this.
True. Could be. You know, why not, if you're going to go get help for an alien invasion, why not get Kara and John? Or Kara, maybe, like, Magan could help too or something? You know, as much alien superpower as possible. We don't know. We're still a few episodes. We're like, what, 4 episodes away?
Yeah, I think it's the end of this month. Yeah, probably 3.
It's getting close.
But I just wonder if it's going to be one of the. Yeah, I know. I wonder if it's just going to be one of those things where Cisco can only bring one person back or something.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Cisco's going to vibe and Barry's going to be like, or if it's going to be one of those things where Cisco just vibes and pulls Kara and they don't know what happens, or
maybe.
I don't know. It's going to be exciting. I just can't wait to see, like, my biggest thing is I want to see Diggle's reaction to aliens.
Yes.
And then Oliver's reaction of just how meaningless he really is.
Don't sleep with her, Oliver.
Yeah, for real. For real, dude. For real. You don't have to deal with her cousin. He'll fly through dimensions and come and get you.
That's right.
But I think that about wraps up. I mean, this episode, there's a lot of good things going on. I definitely want everyone to share their thoughts with us online through our Twitter and through our Facebook and through our emails at Krypton Report. But where can people find you, Phil, if they're not already listening to Southgate Media Podcast?
Well, I'm on the Legends of DC here. Before the Bat, I'm on with Tyler, and I'm all over the Nuff Said podcast with a bunch of Marvel stuff. One interview went up, another interview's going up soon, and I'm always on the All New Marvel Roundup and Super Connectivity over there. But so you can discuss anything DC Comics or Marvel with me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com, and on Twitter I am at nightwingpdp.
Awesome. Well, Phil, thanks for coming out and helping us out and talking some super with us today. We appreciate it here. You're always welcome back. We might have to have some comments from Phil with the upcoming episode of Supergirl with the development of Mr. James Olsen.
Yes. And I made this announcement elsewhere, but the week of the crossover, we're all going to be crossing over, so you're not going to be getting the 4 separate shows. We're all going to be on one big roundtable show.
One massive show for one massive event. Which makes me wonder, like, when the DVDs come out, if each show's DVD will feature the entire story. Like when I was watching Flash season 2, they included the Arrow episode on the DVD because it was
the same.
Direct, yeah, because it was the same story. Because I said that to Janine, I'm like, man, this would be so weird before it started if you were watching Arrow and it didn't happen. But then the second part played out. So I wonder if you buy the individual seasons, if that crossover will appear on every disc, which I think is it should, because also if someone's just watching Supergirl, they'll get the whole crossover. They'll get a taste of the other shows and get to really enjoy that.
Well, that's how they did it. Last season, Flash had the Flash season had both episodes, and Arrow had the same 2 episodes. So yeah, probably get extra content.
Yeah. All right, fellow Kryptonians, we look forward to hearing you, and remember, look up in the sky.